All right, what's going on? Chatterbox Reds live. Nick Kirby, Greg Sandlin, Trace Fowler at the stadium. One-run ball game here. Alexis Diaz on the hill, trying to get a big win for the Reds. I have no idea how this is going to work with Trace. He's got to be way ahead of our game cast. Don't even think he can hear us. I guess he's going to be quiet. I'm not 100% sure. All right, I guess he can hear us, so that's interesting. Craig, how you doing, buddy?
I'm apparently better than you are, man. Sorry you're a little under the weather. Hopefully your voice recovers before a big Pirates weekend this weekend.
Yeah, I've been doing cough drops all afternoon. Guess it didn't. It made it survive yesterday, but not as much today.
The joys of having kids, my friend.
Yeah, they all had it last week and finally got to me, I guess.
Yeah. Well, just to reset, Diaz is in for the top of the ninth. The Reds currently lead 3-2 over the Minnesota Twins. Willie Castro, who hit a home run in his last at-bat,
Jesus Christ. What the hell, India?
At the plate, and Nick Kirby is ahead of me, but
all right, I'll sync it up with you here in a second.
Yeah.
What was I mean, it didn't matter, but what
it didn't
India
matter,
doing?
But yeah. Castro lays down a bunt hit, well placed.
Oh, Willie Castro, man, what a pain in the ass this guy is.
He really is, huh? Between his plays in center field. Oh God, I don't like Trace's reaction, and I don't like Reed standing up in the background.
All right, I
13-12 stopped.
It went off, so I don't.
Yeah,
I
18,
think we're close.
17, 16, 15, 14.
Trace 13, just spoiled 12. It for all of us. I gotta hide the chat. I gotta hide Trace. I don't know. Oh, that's what they're looking at.
Stolen base. And advances to third. Good throw by Friedel. I mean, almost had him, but not a great throw by Maley. Not a good job by India to keep the ball in front of him. And now the tying run is at third base with nobody out. Our old friend Kyle Farmer
just tied the ball game.
A base hit into right field to tie the ball game.
Fantastic. I should have known this was going to go like 15 innings today. So I got so much to do. Should have known. Never fails.
Yep. Well, for what it's worth, the only leg of my parlay that I have left to hit is I had Friedel getting 2 hits today. So he is now guaranteed another at bat. So maybe we can cash on my single game parlay. Wow.
I think Reed Mouse should be fired if the Twins win this game. Fired.
I'm not sure that we have to wait for him to win. Let's just fire him now so he gets out of here.
Can we at least get the camera off of him, Trace? I don't want to see him. I don't want to see his ugly face in his stupid Twins jersey. Chat doesn't want to see that. No one wants to see that. Yeah, thank you. Turn it away from him. He's ugly.
I do appreciate you and Elliot making him sit in the row behind you, though, because heaven forbid you be seen in public with someone wearing a Twins jersey.
Guys, I got to be honest.
There we go. There's one.
This is tough. It's hot. It's just a tough day out here.
It's hot. I got a lovely 65-degree day here. I got my windows open here in Northeast Ohio. It's a tough scene. Is it hot in Memphis, Craig?
I haven't been outside since about 9 o'clock this morning, so I'm not entirely sure. It looks a little overcast today, though. So
Okay. All right. Where are we at in the bottom? Did Benson
you've got Maley due up, and then the top. So Maley, India, Friedel.
Do they pinch it? Do they pinch it for? Do they pinch it for Maley? Or is
Who's the
Stevenson
Twins closer? I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you probably bring in Stevenson if he's available. It's just a question of whether or not he's actually available.
Didn't the Twins closer just pitch?
Was Duran their closer?
I thought he was.
Okay.
He's their like best reliever.
Yeah.
They might do the by committee. I don't know. He's listed as their closer, so
okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that I guess that's like I don't know how many pitches did he throw.
I think you probably have to put. He threw 17. I think you probably
there's no way. There's no way
Stevenson in there for Maley.
I mean, I would go like.
Would you give Ellie a chance to be a spark if somebody gets on base? Maybe even if somebody doesn't get on base.
I just realized that the Gamecast is like way out of here. I still says Will Benson on there. There we go. Trace has his head down. This is so much fun. I don't know if this is like did something bad happen. I'm like
Alexis
10
Diaz
minutes
just went
behind
full
what
count.
they're watching.
So 3-2 to the number 8 hole hitter Vasquez, who is 2 for 3 for the day, but
yeah.
There you go.
I should have known that was a Trace reaction to an Alexis Diaz walk. I've seen that before.
Are we going to Lucas Sims here? Or is David Bell just coming out to light a fire?
It's kind of wild. This is kind of a wild move, but I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, fellas.
I mean, Derek Johnson might be seeing something too, specific that they don't really like.
What do you think they've seen in Hunter Greene? He's just striking everybody out, or what? Was that too many guys?
They said on the broadcast that David Bell had 2 separate conversations with him about whether or not he was going to go back out there. I don't know if things changed after the Reds got that extra run, or
and it was a long inning.
Yeah, it was a long inning too. So I could have certainly played into it, but I was on the case of let him go out there for one more. He's at 92 pitches. I thought that he probably could have gone back out there for one more. So Sam Moll comes into the game, it looks like.
All right, where are we at in the Twins lineup?
Taylor Larnach is up, who was just called up from AAA today for Carlos Correa. He flew out to center field in his first at bat.
Yeah, I mean, this is a left-handed batter, so.
Yep. So you bring in Sam Moll, and then you've got Julian at the top of the lineup afterwards. You bring him in, see if you can't roll him over and get a double play.
Larnach has a career 63 weighted runs created plus against lefties, 105 versus righties. So,
yeah.
I mean, that might have had as much to do with this move as anything.
Yep.
And the Twins leadoff hitter is a lefty as well. So the next two batters are lefties. I know Julian has drastic splits. So, yeah, I mean, look, that has a lot to do with it as well. You didn't like what you're seeing completely out of Diaz, and you got a great matchup. I mean, Sam Moll's been dominant with the Reds. So,
not a whole lot of scoreboard watching today, at least during the day. But for those that are interested, the Phillies and Braves are in the top of the 10th, tied at 4-4. So for anybody with hopes that maybe the Reds can catch up to the Phillies.
Yeah, I don't even have them on the bar.
9 hits today. But the Phillies do have runners at first and second with 2 outs. So here we go, Sam Moll. He's been lights out.
I don't think it's a gut as much as it's the numbers and Derek Johnson saying there's something they don't like.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's a gut thing.
It might be a different story if you had 2 outs or something, but double steal. Get rid of that double play.
What a gutsy steal, man. Kyle Farmer stealing third base.
It can't happen. It can't happen. Senzel can't be clueless out here at third base. Clueless. He's late to the bag. Doesn't get the tag down in time. But I'm glad we put him in as a defensive replacement. He's great out here.
Yeah,
I know he doesn't play a lot, so he probably doesn't realize that there's a game going on out here. But there's a game going on out here on the field.
Kyle Farmer, not exactly known as a stolen base threat, so that's a gutsy move, like Nick said. I mean, you erase the opportunity for a double play there. Now you got to make a decision. Do you bring the infield in?
Well, I mean, the Twins also know they have 2 left-handed batters up.
Yeah.
Their chances of getting a legit base hit is slim. It's a good call by the Twins. Did Maley hesitate at all on that because Senzel wasn't there? I didn't see that part of it.
Didn't look like it that I saw, but not 100%.
Well,
Come on, Sam. Big pitch. Uh-oh. That's close.
I'm not even looking at the screen.
Yeah, it's best that you don't look at Trace.
Yeah,
He may or may not be giving things away.
Yeah. Is that Trace screaming on the broadcast?
I muted my TV. Do we have a woo going? No, Elliot was tweeting yesterday he was going to get the woo going.
I just heard someone screaming from the field. I would not put it past.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Let's go.
Yes. Sam Mole, big time. Big time, Sam Mole. Let's go.
I'm not actually sure that he went there, but
no, he went. He went.
All right.
He went.
Let's go. Big out.
Shut up, Kyle. Shut up.
Yeah,
that's like that. Like that's about as close as it gets, though. All right, come on. I guess Polanco has big splits. I didn't know that. But I know Polanco's a switch hitter.
So they pinch hit for Julian here, and then we intentionally walk him.
Yeah.
Pinch hit. It says Ryan Jeffers replaces Matt Wallner. So Wallner must have pinch hit for Julian earlier.
Yeah. And okay. I mean, Wallner must crush lefties.
Yeah.
Polanco must have
now you've got
decent splits. Oh.
Can't happen. Man. Hey, 3-run ninth for the Twins. And they take a 5-3 lead. Unreal.
I don't know. Game days froze for me. Doesn't even want to do this.
Yeah. You got Donovan Solano now. He's blocked by Maley.
Game day not even catch what that Polanco single was, so I can't even be miserable about it. Doesn't even list exit velocity on it. Yeah, it literally it must have went out at the stadium or something. It hasn't listed.
Yeah, they don't have it on Savant either.
Yeah, it's in there, but it's not.
Yeah,
that was pretty. It looked pretty weak.
Yeah,
that's tough, man. What was that noise?
Is that the strikeout sound? Did we get a K?
I guess. I don't know.
Fellas,
Here it is. Jonathan India. 4-3. Put out a Solano, and the inning ends.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pinch it for Maley here.
You have to.
I mean, I don't know, maybe Martini.
Depends on who's throwing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, who's on the bench? Martini. That would probably be the guy I would go with.
Yeah, I mean, your options are Martini, De La Cruz, or Stevenson. I don't know. Ty Steve's hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, I don't know. It's flip a coin between Stevenson and Martini. Maybe it'd be better to use Stevenson so you have Martini in case you get up to Senzel or Fairchild spot and you need a bat. Maybe an extra innings, you're down 2 runs. You've got to kind of think saving it for later. I don't know. I think this lineup is garbage. I think that the playing Fraley and Votto together is handcuffing this entire lineup, and you have to pinch it you have to pinch defensive replacement, take CES out of the game because of it. I don't know. I just think I think playing both of them is really handcuffing this lineup. Pick one, play one of them, play the young guys. Because I mean, yeah, look, they gave up runs, but they scored 3 runs today through 8 innings. I mean, that matters too.
Against Bailey Ober, nonetheless. Well, Griffin Jacks is the answer for who's going to throw in the 9th for the Twins.
Well, I like that graphic.
7 blown saves this year.
Make
Tied
it
for
8, big
fifth
guy.
most in the MLB.
All right, who we got? Martini.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like Martini's been kind of a boom or bust, so he could either hit a home run here or he could strike outs.
Well, he could
And,
he's done a pretty good job of taking some walks. So I mean that's that's as valuable as anything here.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you need base runners. You're down 2 runs.
Yeah, I mean even when Martini hasn't hit, I do feel like he's had pretty competitive at bats. So I'm assuming a guy with 7 blown saves has probably walked a few guys this year. There you go. There you go.
Martini's walked 4 times this year in 63 plate appearances. So
Really? That's it?
that's it.
It feels like he's had a lot better, more competitive at bats than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, numbers don't lie though.
Well, he's walked twice in the last 4 games, though. If that matters.
All right. He's hot. He's hot walking.
He's hot. He doesn't have a hit in those 4 games, but he's got 2 walks.
Yeah. There you go. There it is. There it is.
Base runners.
There it is.
Base runners.
All right, Jonathan. Put the team on your back, big boy. Oh.
On the flip side, Griffin Jacks has given up 17 walks in 62 innings.
Woof. No, at least he didn't ground into a double play.
All right, Tej. Can we take a look at the shot that we're getting from Trace Fowler right now?
I'm not looking. I'm trying to watch and react because that's my job.
He just had the phone between his legs. Wasn't a great look.
Oh, okay. All right.
It wasn't a reaction to the game.
Okay.
Come on, TJ.
I'm locked in here. Trying to give you my honest, unbiased reaction. Because I think that's what the
people want.
The people want. There you go, Tej.
2-0.
There you go.
Come on, baby.
This Jax guy looked a lot more comfortable pitching to a right-handed batter, didn't he? Like, he just went right at Jonathan. And I don't think it was Jonathan. I just think it was like the right-handed batter. He looks very uncomfortable against left-handed batters.
Yeah. The Philadelphia Phillies have taken a 6-5 lead in the 10th. They head to the bottom. Matt Strom.
I got it on. I got it on there. Yeah, 2 outs. Riley at the plate. Ooh, right down.
You're right down Broadway. But you're
Yeah.
you're not swinging at that pitch regardless. Come on, TJ.
Stay alive. Well, of course, it comes down to Spencer Steer. Dude, are there people really walking out with Spencer Steer up? What is the point?
Yeah, you're gonna stay this long and leave with 2 outs.
Like, some people are wild, man.
Get through. God. Nicholas. Let's do it.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line into right field. Genius, the first run ever. With four home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed the no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, what's going on? Welcome to Chatterbox Reds live post game. Nick Kirby, Trace Fowler, and Craig Sandlin. Trace is live at GABP. Just got to be witness to pretty demoralizing loss for the Cincinnati Reds. Craig, I'll kick it to you. Give me something to, I don't know. Just give me something.
I mean, lackluster offensive performance. I mean, I think we've seen with this team over the year, I mean, over the course of the entire year, it feels like, where they don't ever have like one person ready to pick up the team. Feels like if one person's slumping, everybody's slumping, and if everybody's hot, if one person's hot, everybody's hot. So they're in a situation right now where a number of their regulars, at least, are not hot, and for whatever reason refuse to put into the lineup the guys that are hot regularly. And then when you do finally give them a chance, CES connects on a home run today. Marte 1 for 4, but it's really tough to stay in a groove when you're not in the lineup every day. And David Bell is making decisions that are not the best for this team offensively or defensively. I don't think the defense really killed them today, but hard to justify Nick Senzel as a defensive replacement in the 7th inning of a 1-run ball game. I mean, it would have been really nice to have CES leading off the 8th. Senzel did walk, but just kind of demoralizing day to say the least.
All right, let's run through the box score recap real quick, and then we'll get to Trace's thoughts when he kind of gets situated. Hunter Greene was outstanding today. Put the team on his back. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts, career high. Only run was a home run that had a 190 expected batting average. Ball went just 369 feet. Reds offense today, bottom of the 3rd. Benson walked. India was hit by a pitch. And then TJ Frieda with a hard hit single. That put the Reds up 1-0. Bottom of the 4th, that Christian Encarnacion Strand fella keeps on hitting, hit a rocket to left field. Home run number 9. That made it 2-0 Reds. Bottom of the 7th, Will Benson tripled on a rare misplay in the series from the Twins outfield. Luke Mailey squared to bunt for a safety squeeze. Ball went into play. He was called out. Bell noticed the ball hit him on the fingers and challenged it. Ruling was the ball hit him, and he was offering at the pitch. It was a dead ball strike. Mailey then put one into center, scored Benson. That put the Reds up 3-1. It was looking really good at that point. Ian Jabot gave up a pretty rare run of late in the 8th, made it a 3-2 game. Twins did have 2 hits in that inning, under 70 miles an hour off the bat. Bell ended up sticking with Jabot against Max Kepler, left-handed batter, 22 home runs this season. Even with Sam Moll warming up, Jabot got Kepler to roll into a weak ground out to end the inning. And then, you feel pretty good. Alexis Diaz in the 9th inning, you're still up 3-2. Some decisions maybe that were questionable up to that point. But nonetheless, you have Alexis Diaz in the 9th inning with the league. And I know Trace has said it a million times this year. Felt like that's been the spot that Alexis Diaz has not failed in all year. I don't know if maybe there's one you can find, but overall, he hasn't failed in this spot. And, look, it started off really unfortunate. Willie Castro, a bunt single for a hit. Not really much Alexis Diaz can do about that. Willie Castro steals second base, advanced to 3rd on a throwing error by Luke Mailey. And then Kyle Farmer singled in a run, and then the Twins ended up put up 3 runs on the board in the inning. Bell went to Sam Moll, and that was the end of it. So, Trace, I don't know. Just give me your thoughts. I don't have a whole lot right now, to be honest.
No, there's a when there's a game that is this important, there's about 5 to 6 different things that could have happened differently that you could say that would have been the difference in the Reds winning the game. I don't want to sit here and be like this is on one person, because it's not. The offense has just been disappointing. I know I keep bringing that up. I know I keep saying that, but you just can't expect to get bailed out every single time by this bullpen, And I know that people are going to be pissed off that Hunter Greene got taken out. And you know what? I think that it was, at the time, I thought it was a little wild. I know the inning was a little bit long, but sometimes when dudes are in the zone, it doesn't matter, dude. I would have at least liked to see one guy get on base before I was going to pull him. I also know people would have argued, well, you need to give Jabot a clean inning. I get all of that. It's just there's this team has got to find a way to get the big hit with 2 outs with guys on 2nd and 3rd or guys on second base. It just hasn't happened. The Twins were able to do it against Moll right there. Give that kid some credit. He had 3 strikeouts on the day and a fly out. He looked terrible, and they got a big hit. And you can always point fingers at David Bell. It's always the easy solution in these situations. And I'm not suggesting for one second he's completely innocent of all of this, because I have some questions about the bunt. That's the dumbest baseball play maybe I've seen in the past year from the Cincinnati Reds. I don't understand what the logic was there. The bases were the whole infield was in. Mailey swung the bat today. He hit a ball to the warning track earlier. What's the solution there? What's the plan? And then they got bailed out, still scored the run. So I understand you guys are gonna have a tough time doing the show. I have a lot of thoughts. I wish I could share them, but at the same time, I don't want to sound like a broken, record, and also I'm hoarse and I've sweat my ass off, and that's a tough one, man. I mean, there's really no else way to say it, fellas. That is a tough loss. The season's not dead, but that's a pivotal game. That's a pivotal game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more you say. Let's get to a super chat. Not disagree with the super chat more all year, but hey, if you do a super chat, I'll read it. Reds suck and will not win anything in the next 10 years. Thanks for your super chat, Andrew. I've never disagreed with the super chat more. I know you're emotional. We're all emotional right now, but I mean, honestly, I appreciate that. That kind of gave me a little bit of a chuckle, and I can reset myself a little bit now. But thank you, Andrew. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone who calls me an idiot in the chat. You guys watch. That helps us out. So thanks to you. I don't know. I mean, I'm with Trace. I mean, look, the decision to pull Hunter or not pull Hunter is going to be topic number one on everyone's minds. It's one of those calls that's tough. I mean, it's at 92 pitches. There was a long, I think, 25-minute inning before. It's a tough call. Ian Jabot, that inning wasn't terrible. Like the two of the hits he gave up were under 70 miles an hour. It was some tough luck. And you still got the ball to Alexis Diaz with the lead in the ninth inning. So I'm not going to sit there about that. I think the decision to play both Jake Fraley and Joey Votto is the decision that should be the most criticized. Both those guys were 0 for 8. You continue to run both of those guys out there. You're weakening your defense. You're making it tougher to make late game swaps because you're having Fraley DH. And I love Jake Fraley. I love what he's done for this team, but he's been really, really bad for about 3 weeks now. And the trade-off of getting him in the lineup is just not there. I have no confidence whatsoever that Jake Fraley could hit a ball out of the ballpark right now. At best, your best case scenario with Jake Fraley is you're hoping he can, hit a single, maybe a double in the gap, maybe draw a walk. But there's no power there, and he's playing your DH right now, and you're having to weaken your entire defense and your ability to make substitutions late in the game. And I think that cost the Reds today. If the Reds are able to blow this game open, it's a totally different ball game. So that's the thing that I just don't like. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Hunter Greene. I mean, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 14 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Over his last 4 starts, he's 2-0, 24 innings pitched, 11 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 7 walks during that time, and 35 strikeouts. I mean, the guy is on fire right now, and he's one that you're definitely going to need down the stretch. I think you've got opportunities to get him another 2 starts, and if he pitches the way he did today down the stretch, it's nice to know that you're going to be in a good position to win a couple ball games. I didn't personally agree with the decision to take him out, but like you said, Ian Jabot, comes in. That double to lead off was one thing, but he gets Larnach to fly out, Julien on a 66.5 mile per hour bloop shot, gets Polanco to fly out, and then Solano on a 67.9 mile per hour bloop to score the run. At the end of the day, I think what you're saying is accurate. I was glad they gave Ellie a day off today. I think that that was probably necessary. So it was good to see Marte and CES in the lineup, but that's got to be an everyday thing. And continuing to sacrifice that for Joey Votto when he is 0 for his last however many, it doesn't make sense, and Jake Fraley isn't doing much better. So it's frustrating to say the least. But yeah, it was the decision to bunt Maile there showed the lack of confidence that Bell has in his offense right now. I think if if your offense is clicking and hitting the ball well, you probably don't even think about a bunt there. But the way it's been, he's probably thinking, how do I manufacture an insurance run? And he's managing differently because the team is performing differently.
Okay, we got another super chat I'll get to here. Mr. Mo, why the hell can't a starter go past 100 pitches? I really don't think that's it. I mean, Hunter Greene this year thrown 112 pitches in a game. He threw 109 pitches against St. Louis since he's been back from the IL. That last start against the Mets, he was at 98. I think it was the combination of him having to sit for 25 minutes. I think that just, the Twins, where they were at in their lineup, it was a 1-run ball game, third time through the order. That stuff is real. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get why people are mad. It kind of stinks when you have a start that was as good as Hunter Greene had today and you don't put him back out there. But I mean, Hunter Greene also could have gave up a couple runs there as well. The story is the offense. Everyone's going to push it on Hunter Greene and that decision, but the Reds scored 3 runs in the last 2 baseball games. I mean, that's the story. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got 2 thoughts. The first is you've got to lead late in the game with an offense that is not producing very well, and your bullpen has been extremely dominant all season long, right? So if you're David Bell in that position, you're thinking, all right, we're handing it over to the bullpen for the last 2 innings to shut it down like they have all year long. The other thing, and I'm probably overthinking this, but Hunter Greene's last start against New York, David Bell went to him, trusted him, allowed him to stay in the game. He ends up giving up the 3-run bomb to Alonso. It would be difficult to say, and Hunter Greene after the game said it was a learning moment for him. He would learn from it and move forward. The broadcast reported that David Bell went to him twice to have a conversation about whether or not he wanted to go back out there. Hunter Greene's a competitor. I'm sure he wanted to go out there. But I can't help but think and wonder, was that in the back of your mind? Wondering, last time this happened, I gave up a 3-run bomb to Pete Alonso. You never know. But like you said, the offense continues not to produce, which forces David Bell most likely to have to go to his bullpen. And he has a lot of trust in his bullpen, rightfully so. They didn't come through today, but the bullpen has been your workhorse all year long. And there's no chance in the last 10 games of the year that you're going to change the way you manage the way this bullpen has performed. So I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it.
Real quick.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say.
Trace, real quick. This is kind of adds to the conversation. Charlie Clifford of WLWT just reported Hunter Greene said, quote, "It was the right move to go to the bullpen in the 8th inning." Again, Hunter Greene's a stand-up guy. Maybe he's standing up for his manager, David Bell. But there's also a possibility that Hunter Greene was asked, do you think you have it? And he said, no. We don't know what that conversation was. I just think that's an important piece of information. Go ahead, Trace.
My only issue with David Bell right now is just he's not managing the same that he's managed all year. Okay, like if we're gonna sit here and try to play guys that ultimately aren't going to give us the best chance to win, then if you got a guy that's going out there that looks differently than he's looked all year, maybe his whole entire career, then I would like to think or venture to think that you might manage a little differently with him. So you can't like say on one side of your mouth that you're gonna, and I'm not speaking to you specifically, but when you defend David Bell, and again, this isn't really about David Bell to me. This offense sucks. This offense needs to figure out a way to score 5, 6, 7 runs on a consistent basis, and until they do that, this team doesn't have a chance to really get where we ultimately want them to go. But the truth is that a guy striking out 12, 13 guys. With all due respect, Craig, I would love for them to come up for the 3rd time. Come right on up. You guys ain't got a chance. They look lost. Twins guys are swinging it. How many check swing strikeouts did you see? A ton, because they were overmatched. And no offense to Jabot, but he can't do what Hunter Greene does. To Nick's point, the only thing that you can say is you don't know what was said in the dugout or the clubhouse. Maybe, just maybe, Hunter Greene said he was tired or he wanted to come out. I don't know. But he also might just be defending David Bell a little bit right here and trying to make sure that, it would be a bad look if Hunter Greene during the interviews today was like, no, I was ready to go. I wanted to go back out there, but David said no. I mean, that would be a shitstorm. So maybe Hunter's mature enough to try to kind of cover a little CYA a little bit right there. But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's this. We want to get on the bullpen today. Okay, that's fine. They've been the best thing this team's had all year long. You want to get on David Bell for taking out Hunter Greene? Sure. But how many times have we had a guy on second and third, guy on second, and can't get a big 2-out hit? Just can't do it. Jake Fraley, nothing. Jonathan India, nothing. Do I want to say it? No, but I'll say it. Joey Votto, nothing. We finally played CES. We finally played Marte in the same lineup, and both of those guys helped out. And also, you know what? The final thing I'll say, and I'm going to listen the rest of the time for the most part, unless something crazy gets said, which probably not with you guys because you're very level-headed and you don't really speak too crazy off of emotion. But the last thing I'll say is that the Twins did make some winning baseball plays, and the Reds didn't. Joey Votto had a chance to get Marte to third base with less than 2 outs, and he didn't get it done. Marte then hits a pretty sharp ground ball up the middle. Kid makes a great play. Kid doesn't make that play if the infield's in, and next thing you know, Marte's standing at first base with a base hit. Those are the small things that if you don't want to bring those up, that's fine. If you don't want to say that Jake Fraley and Joey Votto had every opportunity today to help this team win and just failed, that's fine. If you want to blame David Bell and say that it was all Ian Jabot and Alexis Diaz and Sam Mull, that's fine. But I'm just telling you, and I'll continue to tell you, the offense sucks, and they got to find a way to score 4, 5, 6 runs on a consistent basis. Period. That's the only way this team is going to be able to survive. I'll shut up and listen.
We got another super chat. Hal Jordan at the game today saw Riley and Elliott. Who's Riley? I don't know who Riley is.
Might be a girl name for Reed.
Drove over an hour with my lady to contribute to the team. Hard loss today. Super pumped to meet Chatterbox members. I'm all in. You know what, Hal? Appreciate you. Saying hi to the Chatterbox crew. And, it's been awesome to kind of, interact and talk with other Reds fans this year. So appreciate you, Hal. Good question from Andrew Seller. Just saw kind of to maybe wrap a bow on the conversation about the decisions today. Do you agree with the decision for Bell to pull Diaz? I didn't have an issue with it. I mean, again, I think there was probably something that Derek Johnson saw that made them think, Diaz may not have it today. I think that might have been part of it. And then you also had a guy that was terrible against left-handed batters due up. Sam Mull did get that first guy out. The Twins did a gutsy double steal. I know Senzel wasn't in the right position, and Trace lost his mind, as he probably should. I didn't have an issue with that. Again, my issue is playing both Fraley and Votto. That's my stand, and I'm sticking to that. That's the one that I can't sit with. Craig?
Diaz has been your go-to all year long. I understand you've got a left-hander coming up. I understand that Diaz didn't look great, but Diaz has put himself in high leverage positions all year long. I don't know what it is about closers, but I feel like a lot of them perform best in the highest of high leverage situations. And I think someone compared him a couple of weeks ago to Coco Cordero of days old, where every time he came in, it felt like he was putting himself in a position to blow a save. And yet every time he came through. And you trusted him in the past. Maybe Derek Johnson saw something today, but I've got to have belief in my closer to be able to finish a ball game. at least have the opportunity to finish a ball game. I mean, he ended up giving up 3 runs, all of them after he was taken out. Sam Moll's been shut down all year long, so I understand it, but you've got a closer for a reason. He's got 60 whatever saves, 50 whatever saves. Last I checked, he only blown 1, maybe 2. I mean, I struggle with pulling him there. I understand the thinking, but closers like the high leverage, and I think you got to give him the opportunity to get out of that inning.
Trace, you got any thoughts on it?
No, I actually thought that the only issue I really had, and I don't have the splits in front of me and all that, I hate putting Sam Moll in a position where you intentionally walk the guy right after you get that big strikeout, because then you put yourself in what feels like another big leverage situation where if you walk a guy or you fall behind 2-0 or you hit a batter, game's over. I hate that. I really hate that. And again, no offense to the Twins, but it's not like any of those guys are really all that scary anyways. So whoever he was facing couldn't have been that great. I get the other guy was 0 for 4 with whatever, or 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, and he had a fly out. But you're also making him switch sides of the plate. And I don't care what splits say, but if a guy's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and on top of that just flew out, so he's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, I'll be honest with you. If I was a switch hitter, I think I'd rather hit from the other side too. So, I don't know. That's really the only issue I had. And you know what the other thing is too, and I know the shifts and all that's kind of a funny bit we do here, but I mean, that ball didn't look like it was hit that hard, and it looked like it was hit to the right side of Jonathan India, which he must have been playing directly up the middle, I guess. It was just a gross. Everything didn't go the Reds' way that statistically probably should, in a way. And of course you're gonna have people pissed off because that's just a big game. I mean, it is what it is. We're fans. It sucks. You go there, you feel like you dominate the whole entire game, and for as many times as I've laughed and yelled and screamed and said we stole one from somebody, it kind of feels like the Twins just stole one from us. So I'll kind of leave on that, and I'm gonna probably jump off here so no one gets seasickness, but I'm going to listen the whole way, and I'll jump in the chat, but much love to both of you. The Reds aren't dead either. I mean, I know that feels like that, but they're not dead. I mean, they got a mountain to climb now. They're going to have to sweep the Pirates and or the Cardinals now. That's the position they put themselves in.
All right, Trace, much love. I'll add a couple thoughts on that Sam Moll decision just to give some people some perspective if you want it. You probably don't. But the first batter, Trevor Larnach, he's got a career 63 weighted runs created plus against left-handed batters, 105 against right-handed batters. Sam Moll struck him out. And then Jorge Polanco in his career, he's got a 119 weighted runs created plus against right-handed batters, 95 against left-handed batters. The ball snuck through. Vodomatic makes a point. McLean makes that play. I don't know if that's completely fair, but it gives you a better chance. That was just a tough hit. That's one of the hits that, man, it sucks to get beat on that kind of hit. But that is what it is. Some more super chats. Appreciate you guys. We'll get to them. Kirby, thoughts on the rest of the season? I mean, the Reds aren't dead. If you want to be the first one to declare that, like you did after the Reds lost 2 games to the Cardinals, that you declared it 15 times throughout the year, be my guest. They're not dead. It's the worst part of fandom, in my opinion, is when people just cannot wait to declare their team dead. I don't understand why people are obsessed with doing it, but to each their own on that. They're not dead. They're not in a good spot. They weren't in a good spot when the day started. They weren't in a good spot on opening day. They weren't in a good spot on May 1st. They weren't in a good spot on June 1st. They really haven't been in a good spot almost the entire year. They've never had playoff odds greater than 50% all year, the entire year. Not one day did the Reds start the day with playoff odds better than 50%. So they're not dead. They're still in it. Here's what's coming up. They got a chance to run off some wins in a row. And I don't know. this one really stings because of how it happened. But, you know, when we were laying down the series, we said, all right, win the series against the Tigers, win the series against the Mets. You know, you can just win one against the Twins. I mean, that's exactly where we're at right now. So I get it. It stinks. I mean, the Reds need some help. The Marlins sweeping the Braves is what really just completely changed a lot of things. So it would be a lot more fun to be scoreboard watching after a win today, I tell you what, but they're not dead. If you want to be the first and the 50th person this year to do it, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the schedule that you shared, I mean, one of the questions that'll be interesting to see is how Bell manages this pitching staff down the stretch. I mean, there's an opportunity for Hunter Greene to get 2 more starts if you want him. There's also an opportunity to line him up for a wild card playoff series. So you've got different ways that you can play this out. Bottom line is that, to me personally, this Pittsburgh series is one where you should, and it almost feels like you need to sweep. Pittsburgh is not a great baseball team. They are throwing out their 3 arms that are subpar. And you've got three guys scheduled to go that can absolutely shove in the right moments. So it's lined up for you. I mean, there's no reason you can't rattle off 8, 6 or 7 wins here in the last week. It's set up for the Reds to still be right there in this race at the end of the year. So I'm certainly frustrated with today, like everybody else, but I'm still optimistic about the way this season can end. I would like to see David Bell maybe take his emotions out of it a little bit. We've said it before. It feels like this is a going away party for Joey Votto. And quite frankly, as much as I love Joey Votto, we've got a playoff spot to earn. And we can't afford to continue to run him out there along with Jake Fraley and, reduce our defense while also reducing our offense. And feels like a lot of emotion are going into decisions right now rather than David Bell's tried and true, which has been the analytics.
Another super chat here from Big Z. Kind of goes with what we're saying. Really sick of what seems to be over analyzing by Bell. Put the best guys out there and let them play, period. I mean, I agree with a little bit of that.
It almost feels like the opposite, right? Like he's under analyzing.
I'm sure Big Z's talking about like taking Greene out of the game, taking Diaz out of the game, but I guess there's some merit to he's not being consistent. I think I think that is maybe a better way to say it. He's not being consistent. Again, if you want to play Joey Votto every day this week, I really don't have a problem with it at this point. It is what it is. But you can't play Jake Fraley. You can't play both of them. You can't handicap your lineup to get both of those guys in the lineup, despite what all the incredible things both those guys have done. That's my biggest issue. As far as like some of the other moves, like going to Sam Moll because of the numbers and pinch hitting and those over, that's what's got the Reds. They've done this all year. That's what got them to 79 wins. So I get it. When it doesn't work, it stinks, and it really stinks to lose with lesser guys. I get what people are saying there, but they have 79 wins for a reason, and a lot of that I think is because of what they've done. Mr. Mo, who cares about the odds? First place at the break. I get what you're saying. Again, look at the starting pitching rotation. Look at all the injuries. I mean, there was a reason those odds never got higher, but appreciate your super chat. Mr. Mo, let's before we get to some other stuff, let's talk about Hunter Greene, because it's really easy to forget about a incredible performance when you lose a heartbreaking game like this. But for Hunter Greene to step up the way he's done since he came back off the IL, had those 2 just awful starts. He's been incredible since, and then had a COVID IL in the middle of it. What he's done and what he's put this team on the back, put this team on his back is just incredible. It gives you a lot of confidence for the future, which is what we thought this year was going to be about. He's just been awesome down the stretch, and I'm just really happy with what he's done and how he's put this team on the back. And if somehow they're able to get into the playoffs, he gives you a chance to actually win. Now, the hard part is not only do you have to get into the playoffs, but you also have to clinch before the last game of the season, because right now he's lined up to play in the pitch in the last game of the season. And if he pitches in the last game of the season, he could really only pitch in game 3 of the wild card round, and that would be on 3 days rest. So it's at this point, it's even hard for him to even be a factor in that first round series, unless you really just run off a bunch of wins in a row. But nonetheless, Hunter Greene's pitching awesome. Deserves a lot of credit for how he's fought through this year. And that was a huge bright spot and a really down day for the Reds today.
I thought Hunter Greene was huge. Obviously, the stat line speaks for itself, but there were moments in this game where Hunter Greene needed to step up, and he did it. I thought the 3rd inning was a great example of that. He gave up a leadoff double to Stevenson, and then Vasquez bloops a single into right. Stevenson gets held up at third. The Twins try a safety squeeze, doesn't work. So he's left with runners on second and third with 1 out, and he goes back-to-back strikeouts to Julian and Polanco to get out of the inning. It felt like there were several moments where he had, situations where he stepped up and struck guys out. The 3rd, he gave up a walk in the 4th and then struck out the next 2 guys. He gave up the hit by pitch to start the 5th and then got the double play followed by a strikeout. Struck out the side in the 6th. In the 7th, he gave up that home run and then got 2 easy outs after that. It felt like in big moments he stepped up anytime the Twins were threatening. And I can't say enough about what Hunter Greene has done over his last 4 starts. Again, 24 innings, 11 hits, 6 runs, only 4 of them earned, 35 strikeouts in his last 4 starts. I mean, can't say enough about what he's done.
Yeah. All right, let's run through a couple things, and let me get this on here. There we go. Start off with Reds minor league action. Louisville lost 11-7 to Iowa, but Jose Barrero, thought he's worth mentioning. He homered today. Barrero was homered in 3 of the last 4 games, and the only game that he didn't homer was yesterday, and he went 4 for 4 with 2 doubles. It's really cool to see Jose Barrero ending the year strong. I think that is a really nice development. I don't know what his future is, but it does kind of maybe give the Reds a little bit more options. As I mentioned before, I like him in a potential backup role for the Reds. So good to see that. And then Chattanooga, they will play game 2 of the postseason tomorrow. I believe that's at 7:15 tomorrow night. So with the Reds off, that would be a really cool game to watch. They haven't officially announced the starter, but I'm assuming it's Chase Petty. He didn't start in game 1. So really cool to see. That'll be at home. That's a must-win for them. Best of 3 series. Hopefully they can win and force a game 3 on Friday. That would also be in Chattanooga. And then as we mentioned, here's what's coming up for the Reds. The Red starters in the Pittsburgh series are confirmed. The Pirates series pitchers are not. This is just what Fangraphs is projecting. Reds do catch a little bit of a break here. Mitch Keller is starting tonight for the Pirates against the Cubs. And then Johan Oviedo, who's had a pretty good year, pitched pretty well against the Reds earlier in the year. They just announced that he's going to start tomorrow against the Cubs. So not only are the Pirates' 2 best pitchers not facing you, they're going to go up against the Cubs. Let's say a prayer for both of those guys that they can shut up Reed Mouse, make his night absolutely miserable tonight and tomorrow. He's feeling great, but man, how deflating would it be to have celebrated this win and then your team just goes and chokes to the Pittsburgh Pirates at home? That would be wonderful to see. So we'll hopefully see that. And then, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what you got coming up. Also say a prayer that Adam Wainwright decides to pitch in that final series. That would be great. But, yeah, everything's still in front of the Reds. But they're going to need some help. today stings a whole lot less if the Giants, Cubs, and Marlins all lose today. It's a possibility. We saw it earlier in the week. They all lost on the same day. What the Reds need to do is so dependent on what the other teams do. You could say the Reds have to sweep the Pirates. Well, if the other teams all play terrible this weekend, they don't have to sweep the Pirates. If they all play great this weekend, yeah, the Reds do have to sweep the Pirates. So it really is as much dependent on the other teams as it is for the Reds. But look, they got a chance to pull off a sweep this weekend. I never think it's fair to ask for that or say that's a realistic option because every single day in Major League Baseball, there's multiple teams that win that are underdogs, heavy underdogs. Just that's how baseball works, but it is set up well for the Reds. Any thoughts on this, Craig?
Well, my thoughts on what you said, I think Jose Barrero is an interesting piece for next year. We talked a couple of weeks ago about Nick Senzel and how his role is kind of reduced and certainly doesn't justify the payday that he is expected to get next year. So, having Jose Barrero in the pipeline ready to step into that role as kind of a utility man, especially across the infield, along with Matt McLain being back, if Joey Votto does decide to move on, or if the Reds let him move on, or if he retires, gives you a number of options across your infield, which will be good to have for sure. The starting rotation, the Bally postgame show just showed it as well, but you're looking at a 4-man rotation the rest of the way for sure. Like I said, the way they use Hunter Greene will be telling. See if they squeeze him on short rest one of these games to try and line him up for the playoff series. He is scheduled to start as of right now, at least in the final game of the year. It also depends on how important that final game of the year is. If they need that win in order to make the playoffs, then I don't think you have any question about potentially throwing Hunter Greene out there. But a lot can change between now and October 1st, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited. Like you said, I think it's difficult to ask for a sweep, but I think, as the chat will probably tell you, it almost feels like you got to have it right now. I did want to bring up something we talked about last night, Nick, after the show, that could play into all of this as well. The Astros and Mariners are in an extremely tight AL West race right now.
And Rangers
all in a tight race right now. The Astros finished the season against the Diamondbacks in a 3-game series. And so if you're a Reds fan, you need to be rooting for that division race to come down to the wire. We need the Astros to be still fighting for a spot against the Diamondbacks in that last weekend to make it even more attainable for the Reds to be playoff bound as well.
Yeah. And here is what's coming up today. Right now, Giants and Diamondbacks are tied 1-1, bottom of the second. Merrill Kelly on the bump. For the Diamondbacks, Logan Webb on the mound for the Giants. The Giants ace really need the Giants to win there just to keep the Reds within a game and a half of 2 spots. And then the Marlins, they got a tough test against Kodai Senga. He's been really, really good. That's at 640. Marlins, however, got Yuri Perez, their star pitcher. But you wonder how much he's got left in the tank in his rookie season. So hopefully Senga can pull out a win. And then the Pirates, they got their ace on the mound, Mitch Keller, up against the Cubs ace, Justin Steele. So we'll see. We'll see how today plays out. I mean, like I said, today can sting a whole lot less if get a lot of help today. If all 3 of those teams, if the Diamondbacks, Marlins, and Cubs all win, it'll really, really stink. So we'll just have to see how this day shakes out. One more comment I wanted to get to. Ohio Lakers. Appreciate you. I know you got a lot of shit for this in the chat. Reds 15 over the win projected. Successful season for a team that never make the postseason. That was never meant to make the postseason. I agree completely. Call it a loser's mentality. Call it whatever you want. None of you would have said that at the beginning of the season. So it is what it is. It's a good season for the Reds. I think when you get to November and December, you'll realize that a little bit more than you do now. I get it. It stings right now, but the Reds also aren't dead. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I'm excited to watch meaningful baseball for 8 more games. Hopefully 8 more games, at least a few more. It's been a fun season. It's been a fun ride. Appreciate you that have joined us through 154 games so far. Craig, any final thoughts?
Nope. Let's stay positive. I think there's a lot of baseball left to play. It's nice that we're above our win projection. I think we can get even higher. The Reds are ahead of schedule as an organization, and the pipeline is full. The team right now is young and in team control. And they're playing meaningful baseball, which is so valuable as a whole for this team in the future. And they're going to learn a lot over the next 9 days, 10 days, whatever it works out to be, about this team, about the individuals on this team. Shout out to Trace. I mean, he called out the fans. They're going to need us this weekend. And the Pirates series, there's no reason to not to have a good turnout. Bengals don't play until Monday. So let's have a big weekend series with a big attendance and see what we can do.
Chris, thank you for watching our show. Appreciate your viewership. Have a great night, buddy. And everyone else, you have a great night as well. Go Mets. Go Giants. Go Pirates.